Record to this computer. All right. It says meetings live. I think we're there.
I think we are. Happy New Year,
Excellent.
Mike.
Happy New Year, Dave. It's good to see you. We are in January of 2021. So I thought you and I could get together and talk a little recap of what happened last year in real estate. Are you ready?
No, you know what? I've had some people wish me happy 2020 season two.
Well, hopefully it's the upward trend of
I
season
know.
two.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Wow.
All right. Well, let me see if I can share this right now.
Here we go.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right. What this is a graph of the last year from January to I guess we've got December's in December of because when I checked this the other day, December numbers hadn't come in yet. So we've got the sold, the for sale, and the pending graph of last year to show what has happened. So Dave, what do you see right off the bat? What's happened this year in real estate in
Well,
Fresno?
this graph cannot be right. It 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 shows that we sold more homes than we actually had for sale.
Well, that's probably because in November we had a bunch in contract that finally did close in December. So we ended up selling stuff from the last month because some of these escrows don't always go
Yeah.
30 days, they'll go 45 or 90. So we end up having what you see there, more homes sold than went on the market.
Yeah, and actually there's only been 1 month that I see where the inventory went up a little bit the 1st of August by what 7 whole or what 15 homes, 15 more homes went on them or were inventory went up by 15 homes in August, but every month since April has gone down and it's gone down steadily. In fact, the inventory has dropped more in by more than half
Right.
from the high of April
Mhm.
when we thought the world was going to collapse and that there was never going to be another home sold the
That
rest of
is
the year.
correct. Yes.
Uh,
It
and
was looking pretty scary for the rest of this year.
yeah, and there was a couple of slow months, but it immediately we got into June and the home sold has gone steadily up. In fact, I'm going to guess that this is maybe going to be the first time in a long time where more homes were sold in December than there were in May of
Right.
any year,
Yeah.
April and May.
Yeah, so when the pandemic hit, I was getting a lot of people saying, they were going to hold off for a couple of months because housing market, the prices were going to crash and
Yeah,
all the homes were going to go tank. And, I told them it's not going to happen because sellers don't need to sell. They'll just take it off the market and wait.
yeah.
And that's what's
We
been
saw that.
happening because as soon as we got able to get out and about, the housing just, there's so many buyers out there. They're just gobbling up every home that comes on the market. And this graph shows you right here, there's not much inventory out there. So any seller that wants to sell, this is the prime time because there's so many buyers out there right now.
Yeah, and I'm working with more buyers than I probably have for a while, and everyone is getting a little frustrated with not being able to find a home. And um, so there's a little bit of an education going on too. Is I have not to speak out of school here, but I have one buyer that their initial offer was they never offered more than the list price, and they were asking for closing costs. Well, now they have learned they're coming in at or above uh, list price.
Mhm.
And since we started looking, they figured out how to cover their closing costs. So their offer is getting stronger. Um, and we're still finding inventory for them, but when we find a home that they like, they realize that they don't have the opportunity to drive home and think about it.
Nope.
And when I say home, they're out of the area. They're acting now. They're coming in, and we're seeing 2 or 3 homes that meet their needs, and they're making an offer on them right away. we feel hopeful that the last offer we made, we're still in hunt on it. Uh, Unfortunately, the seller is in the middle of a blizzard on the East Coast, so we can't even talk to him. So our offer may be good. We don't know because,
Right.
but the buyers are willing to hang in there, and this, the agent is keeping us informed on a daily basis on what's going on. But things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen. Um, uh, So what's the motivation of the seller right now? Why would somebody want to sell at this time?
Well, the prices have been steadily going up for the past 4 to 5 months because there's not enough inventory and buyers are grabbing what they can. They don't have a choice, like you say, to go home and think about it, and they don't have the choice of seeing 30 homes before they make up their mind. If they see one they like, they got to jump on it right away if they need to buy. So the price is steadily going up. The sellers need to move. Now's the time because there are so many buyers out there looking. I'm getting calls all the time. Unfortunately, some of them aren't realistic because they don't realize how the homes have come up in value, but
Yeah,
the phone just keeps ringing. So now's a perfect time for sellers if they need to sell and move. This is the great time. There's so many buyers and the interest rate is so low for them.
yeah,
It's a perfect time to start selling. Don't worry about the winter. Just like a car lot. If somebody walks on a car lot when it's raining, they want to buy. Same thing
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
It's raining, it's snowing, doesn't matter what's happening right now in Fresno. If they walk up and your house is for sale,
They're a
actively
serious
looking.
buyer. If they're out
Yeah.
right now, they're a serious buyer. And
Yes.
and with COVID and everything, is we're taking extreme precautions.
Oh,
We're in
yes.
separate rooms, but if you and I were in the same room right now, we'd both be wearing a mask, and that's how we show homes. We
Mhm.
wear masks, we wear gloves, we take our shoes off if required, or if we feel like it's a good idea. We're wiping down surfaces behind ourselves.
Mhm.
Um, so for a buyer or a seller to actually put up with that tells me that they're motivated and
Right.
um, they're not just doing it to test the market. They're just not doing it for fun, and
No.
that's for both the buyer and the seller. So I take very seriously when somebody says, "Yeah, we need to be in a home by April." They have a reason to be in a home by April. And if somebody says we need to be out of our home by April, they have a good reason to. And
Yes.
the idea, the thought of, well, why don't we wait till we see if this market will continue to climb? No, I need to sell it now. The reason I bought a home 40 years ago was that I could sell it when I wanted to retire or when I wanted to move out of the area or something. So there, everybody who's playing right now is motivated.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
They definitely are motivated. So
yeah,
yeah, so it's yeah, I just had someone the reason I was thinking of doing this one today with the yearly numbers is because I did have someone think that nothing's been selling and that there's just a tremendous amount of homes on the market to sell because nobody's looking. Well, I go, well, I looked at them, pulled the numbers up, figured we better get this out there because look at the numbers in January. Look how many homes were for sale, uh, which is the light green, and what they are now in December. The light green, there's what less than half of what there was in January.
yeah.
Uh, there's it's a it's a seller's market. Uh, we I hear that this new year should be the same. I know a lot of people are out of work, but there's just as many that are not out of work. I had
Yeah.
one of my clients, I sold their home a couple months ago because they actually got transferred with job increase and with a step up in pay. There are still places that are doing booming business right now.
Mm.
So now is not the time to mess around if they want to sell. The numbers are showing it. They're selling quick.
Somewhere during the last week or two, the price of my home went above what it was worth in 2005 and 2006. I think July of 2006 it hit a peak. It hit the
Mhm.
highest number price, and then the market kind of came apart in 7 and 8 and 9, and we just went past that number. Uh, you know, so it took me what 14 years to recover from that, but here we are. And so some might say, well, we're back into another bubble. The difference is that this market is being driven by very strict lender guidelines. The
Yes.
lenders are tougher now than they probably ever have been.
Hmm.
With COVID and everything, if you're self-employed or if you've been on the job for a shorter period of time, lenders are taking a little bit longer. So you really do need to work with a lender who is very versed in this market today, not what it was like in 2005 and six, where if I fogged a mirror and had a convincing story, they'd give me money. Now you have to verify everything. So if you're thinking of buying a home, it's a longer process getting verified. They're going to
Hmm.
be a little bit tougher on you. And yet, personally, I think it's easier to buy a home than to rent a home. I've talked to landlords right now who are really tightening the criteria to rent to you, and they have a long list of people standing in line to rent. So um, it's almost to me, it's almost easier to buy a house than to rent a house. Uh,
Yeah, it is. And for buyers that are thinking of wanting to get out and look, because I just had one the other day, they want to go look at a house, and then after they find it, they want to get pre-approved. The pre-approval process, like you just said, they're getting more strict and they're double checking all the numbers. But some of the pre-approval processes are taking an extra maybe week and a half to get done due to the fact that where they work, they may all be working from their homes.
yeah,
So instead of, your employer going to the next room to get verification of your employment, they got to call their secretary or whoever takes care of that at home, leave a message, wait for
yeah,
them to respond, and then get that information over to your lender. So there's a little lag time. So to go look at a home and then get pre-approved, it's a total waste of time. We just can't do it. I would love to work with these people, but I told them you're never going to get anything done. We got to get that pre-approval process because
yeah.
it could take, another 4 or 5 days just because of everybody working from home.
And with multiple offers, again, I work predominantly with listings with people looking to sell their home. And when we have a home that's on the market and we get multiple offers on it, the very first thing we look at is the qualification, the lender, the strength of the lender,
Yes.
the strength of the qualification letter. The fact is, have I dealt with this lender in the past, or
Mhm.
does this lender is this lender from the Grand Cayman Islands, and there's no there's no way of getting a hold of them at any time to ask
Right.
them a question. So
Right.
I always want to lean toward my local lenders or lenders who are out of the area who have done a phenomenal job. And I have both. I do have some lenders from out of the area that I would gladly use again because they do actually pick up the phone and know what they're doing. But really, for the most part, uh, if I'm gonna if I'm gonna present an offer and I see I see less than a qualified buyer,
Mhm.
even though they may be paying more money for the house, if they're not as qualified, or if I have questions about the lender, or if I have questions, you know, I even have to say it, if I have questions about the agent on the other side,
Mhm.
having a having a record of writing offers and not closing escrows, that
Right.
becomes a factor too. So as we deal in this real estate market, we get to know our fellow professionals out there, lenders, realtors, uh, insurance people, home warranty people, home inspection people. They all play into it on having a successful transaction.
Oh, definitely. And as us being listing agents, when we get offers, especially, I call each and every lender on each and every offer and ask them questions. And
Yeah,
there's times I'll just call up the other agent just to double check. I'm going to go present. Are you sure this is what you're going to offer? And if I can't get a hold of that agent, and if I got to call the lender 3 or 4 times when I present, I have to tell the seller that as well.
yeah,
This is not only FHA conventional or cash. This agent I couldn't get a hold of. This lender I called 3 or 4 times, getting no response. I have no idea if this person's real. It weighs a lot into the seller's decision.
absolutely.
So you, you may give them 5 offers, and there's only one that you're able to talk to the lender and talk to the agent and know some information you can relay back to the seller. It makes a big deal, makes a big difference.
It sounds like we're kind of talking about what are some of the things that you need to have a successful offer, to have the best offer possible out there in
Mhm.
this environment. And being pre-qualified, having a good lender, having a good relationship with the agents involved, having all your ducks in a row, your money ready to close, actually calling up the agents and asking the question, what is your seller actually looking for?
Mhm.
I have a seller who they want to move, they're moving to Texas,
Okay.
and they don't want to have to have a real long escrow. They also don't, um, there's different criteria that they have, and the agent who we've got an accepted offer, the agent called and asked all those questions before we went into escrow. So
Right.
the offer was real clean. It met the seller's needs, and maybe some sellers actually they need a longer escrow.
Right.
My offer, I'd like to have my offer address that before I even present it, saying, you've got 60 days. You got mail. No, you got 60 days. And that may be why they accept that offer and not the other one who says, I want to be in the house in 10 days. Well, that doesn't work for my buyer.
Right.
A quick close isn't always the best solution.
This is true. This is true. Definitely. You never know for sure until you ask, and you need to know before people started getting into escrows and accepting contracts.
What about cash offers? It's all cash. They'll close in 15 days. Why wouldn't I advise my buyer or my seller to accept that offer? It's all cash.
Well, it depends on what they're offering. I mean, it could be all cash, but maybe they're offering 20 or 30,000 less because they think they're going to get a deal. So unless the seller is really super desperate, they may not want to take that cash offer. That's
Yep.
one reason right up front that I always find it's just because they think it's cash. They think sellers are just going to jump at it, but no. I mean, some of them are willing to wait the 30 days to get 20,000 more on a loan. So
Yeah.
cash deals aren't always the best interest of the seller, depending on what the seller's needs are. Each seller has a different need.
And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of cash offers not close for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And um, I'm not going to go into it right now because I don't want a disservice to people who actually are legitimate. They have cash.
Okay.
They sold a really big house, and now they want to buy a smaller house, and this
Hmm.
is the last house they're ever going to buy. They're able to pay cash, and that's important. But then you also have the investor who comes in and says, "Well, it's not really my money. I have an investor who's willing to give me all my cash." So they write a cash offer, and they don't have a dime to rub together. They don't have two dimes
Yeah.
to rub together, but they're
Yeah.
using somebody else's money.
Right.
Well, that's not always necessary. I want to know where the cash is coming from. If
Yes.
we accept your offer, I want to know that it's yours or that it's readily available.
Yeah.
Um, what's can you pull up the chart of the same area on what the price per square footage has done?
Mm, see.
There you go.
I believe that one right there.
I do believe you're right.
Whoa, what do you mean my battery's going low? My battery's going low on my laptop. I hope I don't disappear on you. But there we
Oh,
go. The price per square foot in January was 169, and in December it's 195.
is
It's
that right?
going up.
That's I I f- I don't question it, and yet I question it. Um, so with less, well, I want to say with less homes having sold, but we really haven't seen a fall off of homes having sold this year. Um, this is for all the Fresno MLS.
Yes.
Can can we look at Fresno? I think that's where the majority of homes are is just in Fresno.
Fresno City.
Yep.
All right. And ooh, there we go. Fresno City.
Okay.
164 in this in January and 191 right now in December. So Fresno City itself isn't far off from the whole MLS.
Wow. I'm a little surprised by that. Now, how about days on market? How long does it take to sell a house in this market?
There we go. The average in January was 46 days, and the average right now is 19 days. And I see a lot going within escrow in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you say to the person who's had their home on the market and it's been 45 days? A year ago, you would have said, well, that's okay, that's normal. What do you tell them now? What's going on with a house that's still on the market at 45 days?
Yeah. I have them ask, and the first thing I ask is, what is your list price? Is it at or over the market price? And most of the time, there's some other factors sometimes, but most of the time, yeah, they're 20, 30, 40,000 over. I had one lady just the other day, she was 80,000 over. And it's like, it's not going to sell. Okay. Things should sell within a week. And here it shows 19 days. So yeah, usually that's the first thing, is some sellers just want too much for their home for one reason or another.
I think never before has the adage of, and I've grown up in real estate believing this, that if a home is on the market for 10 days and no showings, or it's had 10 showings and no offers, then it's overpriced.
Yes,
If you're getting
definitely it
all
is.
showings and the offers aren't coming in, then I think you're probably overpriced. If you
Right.
have had no showings at all, that tells me that you're even more overpriced. So a little story I like to ask people is, Mike, do you drink milk?
Nope.
No? Well, give me a beverage you do drink. Oh,
Oh,
pickle
yes.
juice.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, I drink milk all the time, Dave. Why do you
Pickle
ask?
juice. Okay, no. So if you go into Save Mart, I'm just going to tell you, you're probably going to spend $3.49 a gallon for milk.
Mhm.
And then you drive by, let's just say Whole Foods, you drive by Whole Foods and they're advertising that same exact gallon of milk for $7.50. Would you go in and buy that gallon of milk from Whole Foods for $7.50 as opposed to 3.50?
Nope, will not.
What if when you drove by there, they have balloons and animals to ride, and they even have one of those spotlights, and they even have a marching band in the
No,
parking lot? Would you then
still
say,
not going to buy. Nope.
well, why not?
Because I don't need no balloons. I need cheap milk.
You need cheap milk. Well, I think sometimes we forget that when we're selling the home. So people say, well, yeah, but I'm advertising it. I got really good pictures. I have it on all my social medias. I did a virtual tour and a really nice video. And buyers are smarter than that. They know value these days. So if your home is overpriced, they're going to reward you by not looking at your house.
Right.
And most people, the same question. If you were to walk into Whole Foods and say, okay, I want to buy this gallon of milk, and they say, well, that'll be $7.50, and you say, I'd like to only pay you $3.50.
Mhm.
And what is Whole Food going to tell you at that point?
Nope.
Yeah,
They're
how
not going to
much
sell
for? Hey, well, you might even get escorted out.
it.
So, you're nicer than that. But the thought is we've been conditioned that what the price is being advertised is the price we have to pay. So a lot of people who may be very motivated in buying a house, they won't even see that house because it's outside of their search parameters.
Right.
But also they'll think, well, they're asking $30,000 more than I think the house is worth.
Mhm.
People don't take the time to go look at the house if it's overpriced.
Right. Yeah,
They'll go
they
look at
don't.
houses that are priced right, and they'll wait for your price to come down. So when your
Right.
price comes down, then they'll hit it. Then they'll look at
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, they
Um,
will. They will.
yeah.
All right. I think we better cut this off because my battery's ready to die. So,
Technology wins again.
Dave, I know. Dave, thanks for showing up. Dave from Keller Williams Realty, Mike from Keller Williams Realty. You
Happy
guys
New Year.
drop us a line, reach out, and we'll talk anytime.
Happy season 2, everyone.
All right. Talk to you later.
Have a good one.